Live na tayo, muted.
Okay na. Ready? Unmuting.
Good afternoon, everyone. To our participants in Zoom and to everyone joining us through Facebook live stream. I am Lex from the UTE College of Engineering Library. Welcome to the user training on the use of IEEE Xplore Digital Library, hosted by EnggLib and ERDP. The Engineering Library, or EnggLib, continuously organizes seminars and workshops to support instruction and research. These events are aimed to enhance the use of electronic resources of the students and faculty of the engineering community by providing how to use different databases and tools subscribed by the library. Today's training consists of 4 topics aimed to provide engineering students with the necessary skills and resources to conduct academic research and submit manuscripts for publication. These topics are literature review with IEEE Xplore Digital Library, IEEE new resources and services for engineers, preparing your research paper for publication, and IEEE perspective and publishing your research and innovation with IEEE choices and procedures. So for this afternoon, I would like to introduce our resource speaker, Mr. Alex Liu, the Manager for Client Services in Asia at IEEE. He works closely with customers in APAC to provide customized learning opportunities about publishing with IEEE and in-depth training sessions to help users master best practices in searching IEEE Xplore Digital Library. Alex graduated with a master's degree in Information Studies from Nanyang Technological University and was an academic librarian from National University of Singapore Libraries with 9 years of experience in librarianship. So without any further ado, I would now like to give the floor to Sir Alex. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Lex. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to our friends who are joining on Zoom. And hello for those who are joining us on our Facebook page. My name is Alex. I'm the Manager for Client Services in Asia for IEEE. I have been working with universities, researchers, faculties, librarians to organize these types of sharing sessions for our students, for our researchers, on how to use IEEE Xplore resources for study and research. And of course, more importantly, publish your research results through papers via IEEE journals or conferences. So for today, I'm very honored to be here, and we have to thank the College of Engineering Libraries at UP Diliman for providing this platform and opportunities. So in the next few hours, I'm going to share with you on the resources available. As Lex has mentioned, there will be a number of topics that we are going to share. Now, before I start delivering my sharings, I would like to invite everyone through an interactive survey. And for those who are joining Zoom, I believe you should be able to see the screen right now. I'm showing you a browser window. And for our friends who are joining on Facebook, you should be able to see this as well. So I do have one humble request. I would like you to either take out your mobile phone, or you can do it on your computers. You visit this website, www.menti.com. And once you are here, you'll be able to see a code, which is 9914-4530 on the top of the screen. And yes, we have the first 2 participants who has already joined. For the rest, please feel free to join. You will be able to get the code from the top of the screen, and I'm sharing with you the code via chat as well. So the code is 9914-4530. So you just use this code to participate in this survey. Right now we have 24 hours, 25. The number is growing, very good. Keep it coming. And you can join the survey at any time. We already have 31, and let me move forward. Don't worry, you can still join as of now because look at the top of the screen, you'll be able to see it, join@menti.com, the same code. And as we can see, 12 of us as of now, most of us are actually our master students. We do have our undergraduate friends as well as our PhD students and faculties joining. For our faculties, thank you very much for taking your time. For our undergraduates, you are very hardworking, you are very welcome, and you will find it beneficial for today's session as well. And more importantly, for our master students, you did came to the right venue because IEEE Xplore platform provide the resources for your master's and PhD studies. Which university are we coming from? I understand today's sharing session is open for a number of universities across Philippines. So which university are you coming from? UP Diliman? Yes, UP Diliman, Mapua. And USCTC, University of Santo Carlos, UST Library, Las Bolos. Yes. And someone put university. Yes, university. Which university? University of the Philippines. Yes. UP. Which campus? USC as well. So as you can see, we have a wide distribution. We do have friends coming from De La Salle and others. Mindanao University. Yes. We have 56 participants. And more are joining. How about the next? Let's look at not just your universities, but which faculty or which school or department. This is more precise, right? So, for example, are you doing computer engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil, computer, and more civil, mechanical, industrial, electronics. As you can see, it's all coming in. Industry, mechanical engineering, agricultural engineering, yes. Graduate studies. Now, I'm glad to see we are coming from various backgrounds. As you can tell, engineering-related topics is what IEEE Xplore is covering, and we are actually covering much more than IEEE Xplore. The next one is, what's your research area? Now, for example, if you are doing computer engineering or electrical engineering, what exactly are you currently researching on? Composites, machine learning, power and energy power system, IoT, AI, renewable energy, AI again, microelectronics, power system, molecular modeling. This has something to do with both biomedical engineering as well as engineering in general. Sustainability in terms of agriculture, machine learning, waste to energy technology, Lean Six Sigma, this is about engineering management. Structural engineering, environmental management, AI, machine learning, energy resilience system. Energy storage now is a hot topic across Southeast Asia, and a lot of countries are looking into energy storage solutions. Finite, I believe this is either finance or finite element methods, if I'm referring to. Renewable energy, mining, water and wastewater treatment, GIS, yes. IEEE has a strong collection in GIS related resources. Thank you very much for the sharing. Now, I have done a quick scanning of all the topics you are currently sharing. It looks like all the topics are covered in IEEE Xplore, which means you did come to the right platform because IEEE Xplore covers those resources. I would like to understand or learn from you as well. What database or search engine or platform have you used for your study and research so far? Not just IEEE platform, but have you used any others? What are the others that you have used? We have quite a number of different platforms. Google Scholar is one of them, and some others. Yes, so that shows that you do, for some of us, we do have prior experience of using a database, using a platform, or even a search engine to find out publications for studies and research. So let's give it another 30 seconds. We do have someone who has used IEEE Xplore. Others as well. Semantic Scholar, yes, that's another one. Magically, that's an interesting one. Google Scholar obviously is the outstanding one. And how about IEEE Xplore? Have you used IEEE Xplore before? How long have you been using it? Have you heard of it? Some of us are using it recently or in the past few years. Some of us, it's like, I never heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, it's a good choice that you are going to spend your afternoon here, because we are going to introduce IEEE Xplore Digital Library to you and how you can make use of the platform for your studies and research. The next one is, in the second part of my presentation, I will be talking about publishing your research with whether it's publisher or IEEE. So have you had any experience in terms of publishing a journal or conferences? Some of us are saying, yes, I have published journals, I have published conferences. But as I can see, for most of us, we have not published any paper yet. But don't worry, I will be explaining to you what are the fundamental requirements. For example, formatting your paper, preparing your paper according to the requirement, formatting your images, preparing your reference list. So that's what you need. And how about publishing with IEEE? IEEE also published journals and conferences. Has anyone published with IEEE before? Conferences or journals, or both conferences and journals? Right, again, most of us are not familiar. IEEE, we provide tremendous resources for authors, so you can actually find a lot of information if you are preparing your manuscript, collecting information, etc. All right. The next one, I am going to bring up a concept which is related to open access. Now, I'm not going to explain it to you now, but I'm going to ask you as of now, if I just talk about open access, have you heard of it? If you have heard of it, are you familiar with how it works? And the last one is actually just kidding, right? What are we talking about? So if you are just watching Facebook streaming, you are not participating, then we don't have it. So again, there's quite a distribution. About 20% of us has not heard of it. About half of us heard of it but not familiar. And for the rest, about 30%, I know how it works, which is very good. Now, the next one is the most important question. I'm going to leave this question to you. You can key in your answers. We did prepare a lot of resources for you this afternoon, but what we prepared is not important. What's important is, what do you want to know? And try to be a little bit specific, like how to use Xplore, yes, but on which part? Using Xplore to do a searching, to finding articles? I will leave this to you. I will stop my sharing now and I will bring you to my presentation for the first component so that I can start with an introduction of literature review with IEEE Xplore Digital Library. Now for this component, I am going to cover two topics. One is literature review, and the next one is resources for engineers. So I put it at the last, additional advanced features and resources for engineers, programming code, research data, and a platform called Tech Archive. Before we talk about that, I am going to explain to you about what IEEE is, what is IEEE Xplore, and how does literature review works. What is a literature review? Why do we have to do it, and how to do it? Of course, I'm going to explain that through a live demonstration, then bring you to the rest of the resources. For this part, I'm going to spend about 45 minutes to cover all these topics. We will be having a Q&A, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Remember, my Menti page is still open. You can also use the Zoom chat to key in your questions so that I will respond to your question towards the end of the sharing. Now, IEEE has a long history. We started in 1884 with Thomas Edison, Graham Bell, Tesla. These are the pioneering batches who has founded American Institute of Electrical Engineers. That's more than a century ago. And in 1912, another group of researchers formed Institute of Radio Engineers. In 1963, those two merged together to become Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEEE now. I'm sure a lot of us, once you heard the full name, IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, you'll be thinking, I'm doing computer science, I'm doing civil engineering, mechanical engineering, it's not electrical and electronics. I don't need IEEE. Well, you are wrong. That is because IEEE covers not just electrical and electronics, but much more than that. We are currently the world's largest professional membership organization dedicated to advancing technical innovations and excellence for the benefit of humanity. And we cover the whole spectrum of science, technology, engineering, and medicine and mathematics. If you look at emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, smart cities, blockchain, cybersecurity, IEEE has that. Not only that, we cover a wide range of both engaging the people and the societies through our members and technical societies. We also publish standards, journals, conference articles, educational activities, the e-learning courses through our IEEE Xplore digital library. And this digital library, which is an online platform, covers more than 5.9 million documents. It has journals, conferences, transactions, ebooks, e-learnings, etc. This is another overview of the collections available. And when we talk about the number of collections, yes, we have millions of collections. But how about the quality of it? This is a ranking by comparing IEEE journals to all the published journals across the whole world. We are doing a ranking. It's like a ranking of universities. And we realize the top ranking journals in all these subjects are coming from IEEE. 8 of the top 10 are electrical and electronics, 9 of the top 10 on telecommunication, all the top 3 on computer science. In various aspects, AI, hardware, information systems, software engineering, and imaging science. That means, as an author, if you are reading IEEE publications, you are reading the top quality publications. And furthermore, number one publications, number one journals are coming from IEEE. As a student, as a researcher, what you need to do is obviously find resources for your study and research. And a lot of us have prior experience of using other databases. I'm sure any search engine you went into, you key in a search box, you'll find tons of results. But how about the quality of the results? The quality of the materials, the documents you are referring to? IEEE published top quality journals. So in this case, if you are reading IEEE publications, you are reading good quality references. And when we are talking about references, we are talking about literature review. So the first question is, what is a literature review? Well, it simply means you find out the research paper that is published on your research domain or your research topic that has been published before, right? That's a very simple understanding. But what we're actually doing is we are trying to have a review or survey of all the prior published work that is related to the research topic you are working on. And obviously this is guided by your research objective. There are a lot of things that are happening in your research areas, but you don't have the bandwidth to scan everything. In that case, you may want to focus on the research topic you are working on, then just zoom into the subjects that you are currently conducting the research. Now, there are different types of literature review, right? We have the narratives, which is considered as traditional literature review. We have another type, which is what we call the scoping review. And this is very similar to the traditional literature review or narrative literature review, but it covers a slightly in-depth understanding of the subjects. And of course, if you are looking for more details, what we are looking for is what we call the critical review, which means we are not just looking for the information, but we are also providing analysis and review of the review. If this is confusing to you, don't worry, because as a researcher or master or a PhD student, in the beginning stage of your studies, all you need to do, or most of the time you are focusing on, is what we call the narrative review, which means to focus on understanding the current research that has been done. Now, depending on your subject or studies, as well as the research topic you are working on, we do sometimes have to conduct slightly different levels of assessment. And this is considered as addition to the narrative or traditional literature review that you are doing. For example, if you are doing a lot of surveys, interviews, then in that case, you are dealing not just the quantity, but rather the quality of the experimental or survey results. Then in that case, you need to do a qualitative meta-analysis. But if you are doing some kind of simulation or experiment, which is generally what engineer will be doing in the studies, in that case, you might have to spend some time on quantitative in terms of accessing the numericals, the quantitative values of the analysis. And of course, if you are doing clinical research, if you are doing any research that is related to healthcare, in that case, systematic review will be required. You need to analyze a much wider and larger set of data. So why do we have to do that? Well, it helps you to learn everything about your subject, and you need to learn and understand it before you can proceed forward. And also make sure that you are not reinventing the wheel. You don't want to solve a problem or work on a problem that has been solved by other researchers. Right? So in that case, literature review will help you to identify the research that has been done so that you focus on solving the new problems. It also helps you to learn about the people in the field, because if you are doing the studies, if you are doing the literature review of the article, what you will be noticing is not just the research paper, but also the people who are contributing for the paper. And obviously, it's more important to conduct the literature review for your research. It will convey the depth and breadth of the research. It will support the motivation and why you are doing your research. What is the significance of your research? What's the issues to be solved? Is that an important issue? Because you don't want, again, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You don't want to work on minor issues. And it helps you to identify the key areas of missing knowledge. The review cycle, I always call it a literature review cycle. We always start with defining your research topic. And if you do not know your research topic, at least you should know what research areas you are working on. For example, in the survey earlier, I was asking you about what is your research topics or interest. Some of you are saying you are interested in AI, machine learning, energy system, renewable energy. Well, in that case, you do have your research topic. The next thing is identifying the keywords in the research topic. So AI is a big domain. So are we looking for pattern recognition? Are we looking for learning, automated learning? Are we looking for next generation of computing algorithm? Are we looking for NLP? So identify those related keywords. Then what you need to do is identify the source of information. In this case, where you want to search, what platform you should be using. Then you perform the search, evaluate the results, manage the results. After you have read it, review, you conduct the research again, synthesize. If your searching is done after the first round, and you realize, hey, I got everything I need, then problem solved, right? You completed your literature review. But the reason why I'm putting this as a cycle is because most of the people they can't get this whole thing done once. So after they have synthesized the whole review, what they have done is they realize that now it might be better for me to move on to a more specific niche area. So that's why it returns to step number 1, which is refine your research topic. Find out what you exactly are interested in or you plan to work on. Then since you have refined your research topic, I'm sure you will find a list of new keywords. Then you repeat the cycle of searching. So that's the process. And in terms of the key tasks, these are the ones that have been identified. Right? Define and identify the keyword, search in the database, evaluate the results, manage the results, review and conduct the research, synthesize and refine. Now, that's a quick overview of IEEE and IEEE Xplore and what is literature review, how it should be done. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to use IEEE Xplore Digital Library to show you as a live demonstration of the whole process of literature review. So here. Right. Whichever university you are coming from, I'm sure there is a library in your university. So what you need to do is go to your library website. So for today's demonstration, I'm using UP Diliman College of Engineering Library homepage. So as you can see, they have a lot of resources. What I'm interested in is the resources, right? So under resources, they have ebooks, databases, and the e-journals. So if I look at the e-journals, they have a list of all the databases. And as you can see, the librarian here did a very good job. They categorize according to the engineering subjects that the students are studying. You realize they have databases for chemical, civil, computer, energy, industrial, mechanical. Remember, I'm telling you, IEEE covers everything. So what you need to look out for is multidisciplinary. So these are the databases that covers across the different subjects. IEEE is here. It says it provides the full text access, and it covers the journals, conferences, etc. And they provided the in-campus link and remote access. So for in-campus, because I'll be clicking on this, and this is the IEEE Xplore homepage. Again, no matter which university you are trying to access, the first thing you need to check is University of the Philippines, Diliman. It's here. And what you will notice is we have a global search box. From here you can start the searching. We have advanced search, and what I'm interested in is top searches, which shows the top searches that are done by researchers across the whole world. Image processing, AI, machine learning, deep learning. As you can see, these are the top searches by researchers across the whole world. Feature authors, researchers with tremendous publication, feature articles, news and updates, upcoming conferences. Most of the time, we are searching using the global search box. So let's say I'm interested in AI. Artificial intelligence. Now, how many of you conduct search like this? I have a keyword, I just type the keyword and do the search. Right? I'm sure most of you are doing this. Most of us are doing this. But there is a better way of doing it. For example, if I add a pair of quotation marks, it means I'm searching exactly the phrase. So for example, if I don't add in the quotation mark, it means I can find an article which says an artificial simulation of an engine that is able to provide human similar intelligence. Well, that's it. There is artificial, there is intelligence, but they are separated. They're not next to each other. So that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for artificial intelligence as a phrase. So in this case, I will use a pair of quotation to make sure that I'm searching exactly what this is. And furthermore, artificial intelligence. A lot of time we say AI, right? In abbreviation. And yes, in publishing, a lot of time we are typesetting artificial intelligence as AI. So sometimes you have these kind of variations, similar vocabulary, similar meanings. But in this case, I need to use a Boolean operator or to connect them, which means as long as the article has artificial intelligence or AI in capital, then in that case, I'll be able to find these particular references. So I have one concept. Now I want to add another concept because I'm interested in artificial that is related to transportation. So I'll add transportation. Right? A lot of us will do it like this, but however, think about it, transportation, it can also, some similar vocabulary will be transporting system or transport itself. So in that case, am I supposed to type out transportation, transporting, transport, all these different variations? No, the answer is no, because all you have to do is add an asterisk to represent English vocabularies with the same root. So transportation, transporting, transport, all the different variations of the vocabularies are included. And furthermore, now I have two concepts. The first concept is here. Artificial intelligence or AI, this is one concept. And the second concept is transportation. And again, I'm looking for AI related to transportation, which means I want both concepts to be covered. So what I need to do is, I need to group each concept with a pair of parasentences. So this is one concept, and I will connect with the second concept with an and, so that I cover both concepts. So that's how a proper search should be conducted. And in fact, all the things I have shared with you just now, you can use it in Google as well, because Google will also support the use of parasentences, the brackets, the Boolean operators, and or not. So next time, if you are searching in databases, don't just key in the keywords. You can use search techniques like this and perform the search. So in this case, I'm covering two concepts at the same time. So out of the 5.9 million documents, almost 6 million documents, we're having 16,000. Well, we did a good job in terms of cutting down the number of results, but at the same time, we are dealing with 16,000. That's a lot. So how do we further refine it? There are a few ways of doing it. The first thing is, remember, AI related to artificial intelligence, that's still a big topic. It can be talking about AI related to transportation, that is about signal recognition in terms of traffic signals. It can also be about radar detection of the surroundings. It can be talking about AI used to monitor the petrol consumptions of the cars. So exactly which part am I talking about? Am I talking about the sensor? Am I talking about the signal processing, IoT? Let's say I'm interested in AI that is used in transportation that's related to safety. Right. Again, instead of safety, I will use safe asterisk. So that it covers both safety, in this case, safety system, safety critical software, safety software. Everything is covered. So I will add on. This is what we call search within results. Within the 16,000 results, from 16,000 now I'm down to 3,000. That's how I get smaller and smaller and more accurate. And the next thing I'm going to do is, let's look at the years of publications. 1888. I'm sure most of you are even younger than this, right? Do you want to read a publication that is almost 40 years old? I don't think so, right? Especially if you are doing a research which is more recent, AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, a lot of things are happening in the past few years. So in this case, I would like to read publications happening in the past 4 years, from 2020 until now, less than 4 years. I can use the year as a filter. Remember now you have 3,000. And let's look at how many results, how many research has been published in the past 4 years. Out of 3,000 results, 2,600, almost 2,600 is published in the past 4 years. If you do a simple math, 2006 divided by 3,000, that's more than 80% of the publication is coming from the past 4 years. What does that tell us? It tells us most of the research are happening recently. It means this is an emerging subject. This is where a lot of things are currently happening. Now imagine a different scenario. If you do a search, you realize that less than 5% of the research is happening in the past 10 years. More than 90% of the research is happening 30 years ago. What does that mean? That means in the past 5 years, not many people is doing research on these subjects. Then do you want to do this research? There won't be many recent references for you to refer to. There won't be many co-authors that you can find the latest research publications. But in our case, more than 80% of the publication is actually published in the past 4 years. So that's a good sign, isn't it? And if you scroll down, you can also find out who are the top authors that are publishing in this area. These are the researchers with tremendous publication in these subjects, and furthermore, which university are publishing a lot. Quite a number of Chinese universities, they are doing quite a number of research, but there are also other universities, say from Singapore, lots of Chinese universities. And furthermore, if you look at publication topics, out of these 2,600 publications, 800 of them is talking about road safety, 500 of them is talking about road vehicles, road traffic, object detection. This is closely related to the safety, mobile robots, road accident. So these publication topics provide additional filter allowing you to zoom in to a specific research area. For example, I'm interested in robotics, right? Mobile robots. So all you need to do is select this, and if you scroll down the rest, is there any other things that are related to robots? And obviously we know computer vision is closely related as well. And as you can see, there's even transportation, road safety, AI related to railways, right? So I'll select these two as a filter, click on apply. Then from the 2,600, now I'm down to a few hundred, less than 500 articles. This is how you find your references from the 6 million documents to 600, less than 500 articles. And of course, again, 500 is a lot. Not to worry, now is the time to look at, are you interested in conferences or journals or magazines? Now let me explain magazine first. I'm sure a lot of us has been reading news online. Some of you might be interested in sports. Some of you might be interested in fashion or movies or dramas. You follow a lot of what your stars are doing, right? Sports star or movie star. So how to follow them? You read those news about them. Magazines is something similar to that. The only difference is now we are talking about technologies. So in this case, the magazine articles will be talking about how AI and road safety, in this case mobile robots, computer vision is being integrated together to provide some products or services, the application and implementation of technology in the real life. So in terms of the technical understanding, it is much easier to understand a magazine article comparing to a journal article, which I will show you. Now let's look at magazine first. Click on apply, and then from 500 articles, I'm down to 11 magazine articles. So high performance per section, human-centric role in self-driving vehicles. Let's say I'm interested in this one. I can click on the PDF to read it. Let's scroll down and cloud, big data-driven dynamic control. That looks interesting. Some others, software-defined vehicular edge computing with ultra low latency. This is very important in terms of communications, IoT, signal processing, and roadmap for cybersecurity in autonomous vehicles. I'll be interested in this. Click on them. So this is a magazine article. See, it has a few pages, and if you look at it, headlines, images, and these are also information. There is abstracts. It will explain to you about what this is. It looks like a lot of text, but not to worry. There is always subtitles gaining your attention to explain to you what this portion is about. Furthermore, if you scroll down, there are always graph, diagram to explain it. These are not the kind of technical diagrams with a lot of numbers, functions, equations. No, these are just, a lot of them are text and image based. It helps you to understand the concepts. And furthermore, the illustrations. This is much easier to understand. We are talking about a technical topic, but we are talking about the application and implementations. And if you look at another article, this talks about the roadmap. I think the file is quite big, it's still loading. Let's see. Since it talks about the roadmap, and we're talking about what is currently happening, and what's the future plan, what's the current implementation of different technologies of cybersecurity that is implemented in autonomous vehicles. As you can imagine, there are some illustrations to explain the different perspective. What are the standards? What are the systems that are being used in autonomous vehicles? This is easy to understand, right? With the helps of images and illustrations. And furthermore, there's a timeline of the different implementations of technologies in the different aspects. And since we are talking about the roadmaps in the futures, the AIs, intrusion detection, and obviously there will be examples if you scroll down. And this is a summary table of the technical levels of the work that is required. The different techniques and what's the levels that is looking at with the explanations. And don't worry about all these abbreviations because they are all explained here. What exactly is the technique that is being used? And another table explaining the different frequency requirement, the software requirement, hardware requirement, figure images. And if you scroll down, there will be another table providing you the reference list. These are the reference lists, right? So these are magazine articles. Some of you, if this is the first time you saw it, you may be thinking, hey, Alex, it's 11 pages, it's a lot. Well, this is 11 pages, but it's, in terms of difficulty level, it's much easier to understand. What I'm going to show you next is the next level we are looking for, which is really talking about the technical aspect in terms of the physics, in terms of the electronics, in terms of the computer science perspective of artificial intelligence. So if we select journals, now we are becoming more serious. In journals, what we have is, let's say deep learning for safe autonomous driving, the current challenges and future directions. If you look at this one, see. And there's some other articles, a hybrid driving decision-making system. Again, take a look at the article. These types of articles will dive you into the technical design of it. There is no charts, diagrams, subtitles, straight away is text. And there are a lot of references. This is the type of reference figures they are looking for, and this is easy. If you scroll down, this is the illustration or roadmap, and furthermore, there will be a table, decision-making, latency, and this is where things become more serious. They are defining the actual different levels in terms of measurement, execution, analysis, and furthermore, the analysis table, what is required. And as you can see, this is a 21-page document. These are the type of diagrams we are looking for. Analysis, equation and function, how do we define the parameters and the values, how they are being calculated, the analysis of the research data, and furthermore, scroll down here, there is some discussions about the results and an overall mapping from different stages, challenges, recommendations, and solutions. And furthermore, if you scroll down, the continuation and discussion, and look at the reference list. It has almost 200 references. This is a journal article. Now, of course, I purposely show you a very long journal article. Most of the journal articles is around 10 pages, like this, 14 pages. But again, it talks about technical perspective, mathematics, physics, electrical, electronic designs, computer algorithms, and codings. So this is what journal article is about, right? So it's more serious, defining the functions, the iterations of equations and functions. So that is a journal article. Generally, in order for you to understand a journal article, you need to have solid understanding of the subjects. You need the essential mathematics, physics, and skills, the fundamentals, for you to understand the diagrams, functions, etc. So the next level of content I'm going to show you is what we call the conferences. The conference article will provide an overview of the latest things that are happening. For example, here, conferences. Generally, conference article is shorter. It's also technical publications, AI tools. But the good thing for conference is, number one, is shorter than the journals, usually 4 to 6 pages, comparing to the 10 pages or even more. And the second one is conference covers research topic that is related or relevant to what's currently happening. So if we take a look at that, this one is, this is a long conference, 10 pages. And there's a lot of diagrams as well, figures, illustrations, and understandings, explanations of what's currently happening, right? So that's for conference articles. Generally, I would recommend you to start with the magazines, then you move forward to the journals and conferences. Of course, in the platform, we have a lot of features. For example, sorting by relevance, newest, oldest, most cited. I will show you the most cited by papers. Now, when we talk about citations, we also talk about the quality of the research. So for example, this paper is published 3 years ago, less than 4 years. In 4 years, let's say 4 years, the paper is getting 315 citations, which means every year there is almost 100, at least 80 citations on this particular article. It shows the quality of the research of this particular paper. It shows the importance of this research paper. So what I'm going to do is, of course, I can open the PDF to read the article, but I will also be interested what are the 300 papers that are citing this article. So I click on this. It will bring me to the citation section, and in this section, I can find out of the 300 citations, 103 of them is coming from IEEE, right? So because it's from IEEE, you will have the direct full text links here. It's all in full text. They also have other citations from other publishers. So we provide the Crossref and Google Scholarly. Furthermore, if you look at the article, it will tell me the total paper citation, how many times the paper has been viewed. I can view the whole article in the website, more like this, the related articles here. And extending to that, if you look at this reference list, you can also find out what other papers that this particular journal is publishing. You can click on this to find out the journal's homepage. What's the impact factor of the journal? What's the most popular article of the journal? What's the latest publications, the current issues, information about the journals. And in the second portion of my sharing later, we are going to talk about paper submissions. So remember this page, because when we are talking about paper submitting to a journal, this page is also where you are going to submit your paper. I'm sure you already found it. It says submit manuscript. So this is where we will be coming back. So in the search results, you can use all these filters to look for the content you are looking for. And so far, I'm just showing you in terms of research publications, the full text, the PDF. But what I'm going to show you next is, other than the research papers, wow, we are very close to 6 million other than the 6 million research papers, we also have research publications that has programming code, research data. For example, I'm looking for articles that comes with programming code. There's almost 600 articles that has the programming code. So this article, you can find a icon says code available. And if I click on it, it will bring me to this portion which says this article includes code hosted in CodeOcean, and we have a code here, MATLAB. It says this is a MATLAB code, and you can have all the code. This is a .m file for those who are familiar, and of course this is a small window. I will open it in the larger window, and I can view the code here. This is a .m. And of course, there are actually other data, etc. It's a very simple code. Now, CodeOcean is a free online platform for researchers. So if you are interested in writing some kind of coding, I'll recommend you check this out. It's a free open platform online. You can compile the code in various programming languages. C, Python, Java, R. MATLAB is one of them. Octave is one of them as well. And another type of resources is what we call the research data. Now, as a researcher, I'm sure you're familiar with the concept that sometimes when you are doing experiment or simulation, you come across a research data. So we have a data set available. So on this data set, as you can see, the icon says data set available. Click on it. And it says this article has data set included in IEEE data port. Provides a link. Click on the link. It will bring you to this platform called IEEE data port. This is a platform provided by IEEE for researchers to host the research data, and this is the data here. You can actually log in, create an account, log in to download the research data. So the programming code and research data are additional resources for our students and researchers, especially for our engineers, if you want to understand better with the article, because the data, the code comes with the paper, right? So with the data available, with the code available, you can refer to them while reading the article to have a better understanding of how the researcher solved the problem, what results the researcher is getting, and what is his algorithm of deriving the results. So that's the benefit of research data and programming code. We also have another type of articles, which is what we call immersive articles. So for these articles, you can actually participate in the article itself. So we have 2 articles so far. Let's say this one, the second one. And you will be reading, as you can see, immersive article. You can just click on this. It will bring you to an interactive mode, and you will be able to interact with the articles. So you scroll down the elements, and this is the part here. You can actually drag and drop, and there will be a results derivation of how the game works. Well, it's like a drag and drop, simple drag and drop game. Now, this of course has to be working only if the article has an interactive component available. But we are trying to make more and more of these types of articles so that as a reader, when you are reading the paper, you can find it relevant or useful. The last but not least resource I'm going to share with you is what we call a tech archive. So the URL is techarchive.org. This is an online preprint server brought to you by IEEE. They are preprint manuscripts, not peer reviewed, but they are very fresh. They are very new articles. As you can see, they are actually published as of last week, right? That's pretty early. So it provides you the latest research trend and research publications available. So if you're interested, you can check out this website as well. With that, I'm finishing my first part of the presentation. In terms of the literature review and additional resources in programming code, research data, tech archive, preprint platform for our researchers, students, and engineers. And I would like to pass the mic back to Ms. Lex. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Alex, for that very informative presentation. Alright, so from this, does anyone have any questions for Sir Alex? You can send them in the chat box, and then we can address it live. Okay, so we actually have one. Do we have an option in IEEE Xplore to retrieve articles associated to national standards?
That's a very good question. Allow me to answer the question in two parts. Now, when we talk about national standards, are we talking about the national standards of the Philippines, or are we talking about the national standard of the United States? That's something which I will need our audience clarification. What national standard are we talking about, right? But let me answer the first part here. I think this brings an interesting discussion about the standards. Now, due to the time, I was not able to go through with everyone about the standards. If you are looking at the overall collections in IEEE Xplore, and this depends on your subscription, I believe for our participants today, all your schools have the access to the standard document here. These are IEEE standard document. Right, so let's say I select standard. So these are the IEEE standard that is related to the subject of studies. For example, we have a lot of draft standards, but if let's say most cited, some of the standards is actually related to the subjects, but of course in this case I'm showing you all the standards. And as a student, for example, from all the universities, UP, St. Thomas, De La Salle, as a student at MAPA, etc., Batangas, all these universities, you will have the access to the IEEE standards, which means the color will be a green color. It's open. Let me try to refresh the page. And in that case, you will be able to download the standard. Oops, sometimes this happens, but all you need to do is go back. Oops. Yeah. For the standard document that IEEE is providing in this platform, they are all in full text. All signed papers. Yes. So for example, the first one, IEEE standard for interconnection, interoperability. These type of standards, they are very lengthy document. The reason why I didn't discuss much about standards is because as an undergraduate student or even a master's student, you will only need to use standard when you are required to use it. It's not as common as a conference article or journal article. Because the standard, they actually talk about the technical perspective, the technical specifications of the requirement of the skills or the setting of experimental data, product design, service design, protocol simulations that is required for that particular subject area. So that's why, as you can see, this is a 138 pages document. If you look at the table of content, scroll down here, there's a lot of information in this document. Yes. It will explain to you about the definitions and acronyms, the general interconnectivity skills, the specification. The focus is on the specification. So normally engineers will need to use standards, because they need to design products or services. But as a student, a lot of time you may need to use that. There is a lot. And if I scroll down to the actual pages, to explain to you the frequencies, the protocols that is being used, the numbers, etc., what's the accuracy level, for example, that is needed in terms of designing the specific components. So that's the standard document. But then again, that's only the first part of your question. The second part, you need to let me know what national standard are we talking about, right? Because national standard can be about everything. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that question, and we hope that it was addressed. And for now, we don't have any more questions, but for our participants in Zoom, feel free to send them, and then we can address them by the end of the session. So this is the first part of the program. Perhaps we can have a short break, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so it is now 2:30 p.m. on my watch, so I think we can have a 10-minute break. So anyone can, in the Zoom can take a break or just eat your meal or just take a bathroom break or something, and then we will resume this at 2:40 p.m. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
We will be back.
Yes.
How is it?